Hi writers! The other day I was looking at some pictures from trips that I went on a couple summers ago, and I came across a set of pictures from a backpacking trip that I went on with my dad. Backpacking is like hiking and camping combined. Each day of our trip we hiked in the mountains to a new campsite. My dad is an experienced backpacker, and that trip was my first big backpacking trip. Before we left, he went through his checklist with me to make sure I had everything I needed in my backpack. He went down his checklist and asked if I had certain items. Hiking poles? Check, I said. Bug spray? Check. Sandals for river crossings? Check. He kept going down the list, making sure I had everything I needed. Then he got to sleeping bag? Oh no, I said. I don't have that. It was such a good thing my dad had that checklist, so I could make sure that I had everything I needed. Because of his checklist, I saw what I forgot and was able to pack it before we went on our trip. That memory got me thinking about the writing we've been doing. Did you know that writers use checklists too? Yep, they do. And today I'm going to teach you how to use a checklist to help make sure you've included everything you need to teach your readers well. I'm going to write my how-to writing checklist on our chart. My how-to writing checklist. The first thing that a how-to writer needs to check is their beginning. This says, I wrote what I will teach my reader in the beginning. Here's an example of that. Do you want to learn how to make a yummy sandwich? The next thing on our checklist is I numbered my steps and put my steps in order. And here is an example of that. 1, 2, the steps are numbered and they're in order. Next, how-to writers check some of their words. This says, I used words like first, second, and last. And here's an example. First, you need to get jelly, peanut butter, and bread. Next, you scoop out some peanut butter. Last, how-to writers make sure they have an ending. This says, I wrote an ending. And here's an example. I hope you enjoy your sandwich. I have a smaller checklist that I can put right next to my writing and look at it as I read my writing. Let's take a look at my peanut butter and jelly book again as we go through the smaller checklist. It's the exact same thing that's on this big checklist. Okay, first I'm going to see if I wrote what I will teach my reader in the beginning. First you need to get some peanut butter and some jelly. Wait a minute. This doesn't tell my reader what I'm going to be teaching them. That is so silly. I remember trying out a couple of different introductions in that lesson that I taught you a couple weeks ago about introductions, but I guess I never actually added them to my book. I will need to go back in my writing folder after this to find them and add them. So for now, I need to check this box, not yet, for my introduction. Now I need to see if I remembered to number my steps and put my steps in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. I sure did. I have the numbers there and they're in order. So I can check, yes, I did do that. Next, I need to check to see that I used words like first, second, and last. I'm just going to look at the beginning of each sentence. First, you need, on that page I included a word. Next, take the peanut butter. That's another transition word that I included. Spread the peanut butter onto one of the pieces of bread. Well, I don't have a transition word on this page, but I don't actually have to have it on every page. There's another one. Then. I think that I included enough so that my reader knows the steps and how they need to do them in order. So I'm going to check yes. The last thing I need to check is if I wrote an ending. I'll go to the very back of my book and look at my ending. Now you have a tasty sandwich to eat and enjoy. Yep, that's like the example. I hope you enjoy your sandwich. Hey, it's even the same picture. Check. So now the only thing that I need to do to get my writing ready is to go back and add my introduction. Today, go back to one of the books you've already written, just like I did, or maybe even more than one book, and go through the checklist as you read your writing to make sure you've remembered everything. If you're missing something, then you will need to go back and add what you're missing. There is a checklist in Seesaw, just like the one I showed you. Use it as you go through your writing and then turn it in so your teachers and I can see what you already had in your writing and what you didn't have yet, just like me and my missing introduction.